Darth Vader, the face of the dark side, one of the most iconic villains of all time. But how evil is he really? That's what we're here to find out. Because he's not alone. Pop culture is full of villains, from galactic tyrants to cartoon bad guys, but how do you compare them? How do you figure out who is truly the most wicked? If we only looked at numbers, we'd already have a winner. Thanos. One snap, half of life gone. But numbers alone are boring. And who better to begin with than Darth Vader? He is the blueprint, the standard by which all other villains are measured. So to judge them, we'll use a standard older than all of them. The 7 deadly sins. Pride, believing you stand above all. Greed, the hunger for control. Lust, obsession. Wrath, hate, and revenge. Gluttony, excess without limit. Envy, craving what others have. Sloth, failing to act when it matters most. I asked ChatGPT to score each sin from 1 to 10. And in the end, we'll see a total. A villain's true measure. But first, a warning. This video contains spoilers for the Star Wars saga. And yes, in case you missed it, Anakin becomes Darth Vader. Vader sees himself as the chosen one, not just among the Jedi, but for the entire galaxy. If you only knew the power of the dark side, that's not an offer. It's a declaration of dominance. And then to Luke, join me, and together we can rule the galaxy as father and son. It sounds like family, but it is conquest. Humility was never his style. Even the Force choke on Admiral Motti was not necessary. It was theater, a signal. Nobody contradicts me, and it does not stop there. To Obi-Wan, he sneers, "Your powers are weak, old man." Arrogance isn't a side effect for Vader. It is part of his nature. His pride isn't just vanity. It's prophecy twisted into delusion. The moment he believed he was destined to rule, his fall was already written. ChatGPT gives him 9 out of 10 because Vader consistently places himself above others, though he remains dimly aware of his own limits. Vader does not care about wealth. His treasure is control. You see it in the way he treats his officers. One mistake, and your career ends. Defiance, removed permanently. The Empire is not a team. It is Vader's instrument, an empire built on fear. But his greed goes deeper, over generals, over fleets, even over his own son. Vader does not simply crave power. He craves ownership of destiny itself. ChatGPT gives him 6 out of 10 because control defines Vader, but it is a tool for his power, not his ultimate obsession. Here, lust does not mean desire, but obsession. Even as Anakin, he was consumed by Padme, not simply to love her, but to possess her, to save her no matter the cost. Love won't save you, Padme. Only my new powers can do that. This is not romance. It is obsession revealed. What began as fear of losing her ended as a promise to control her fate. Love died, replaced by possession. ChatGPT gives him 5 out of 10 because his obsession shapes his fall, but it is narrower than his greater flaws. His breath may be mechanical, but his rage is alive. You see it in the Rogue One corridor, not a duel, not a battle, a massacre painted in red and black, or against Luke. He drives him back, toying with him like prey. On Bespin, he tortures Han Solo, not for information, but simply because he can. That is not interrogation. It is cruelty. Wrath makes him unpredictable. And even in the throne room, it is rage that moves him. When Luke screams under Sidious lightning, Vader rises, not out of reason, but out of fury. Wrath is his curse, but it is also his last salvation. Without that final burst of rage, Luke dies and the Empire endures. ChatGPT gives him the maximum 10 out of 10 because his wrath defines both his cruelty and his redemption. Gluttony is excess, never enough, always more. For Vader, no boundary is too great. Alderaan gone, not because it was necessary, but to show the extent of his power. Every act of excess is theater. Alderaan was not strategy, it was spectacle. Vader does not destroy to win. He destroys to demonstrate that he cannot be opposed. When Vader consumes, it is not food, it is entire worlds. ChatGPT gives him 5 out of 10 because Vader's excess is rare compared to his pride or wrath, but when it appears, it swallows entire worlds. For Vader, envy is not small. It is the poison in his veins. Even as a Jedi, he felt overshadowed by Obi-Wan. The Master received trust, Anakin received suspicion, and that wound never healed. On Mustafar, it erupts. From my point of view, the Jedi are evil. It sounds like ideology, but it is bitterness. After his defeat, the scream, "I hate you!" Not only against Obi-Wan, but against his own weakness. Later, envy transfers to Luke. Luke is free, pure, hope, everything Vader is not, and can never be again. Pride blinded him. Wrath made him feared, but envy ensured his fall. ChatGPT gives him 8 out of 10 because envy drives nearly every turn in his story, yet it is balanced by stronger traits like pride and wrath. For Vader, sloth is not laziness, it is failing to act when it matters most. In the throne room, Luke begs for help, and Vader waits. Seconds pass, not bound by chains but by inertia. And it was not only then. For decades he knew Palpatine was using him, yet he remained. Not because he was blind, but because he saw no escape. His sloth was not ignorance, it was surrender. He delayed his redemption until the very last moment. ChatGPT gives him 4 out of 10 because Vader's tragedy is not constant idleness, but the long, deliberate delay of the redemption he always knew he needed. Taken together, a clear pattern emerges. Pride and wrath are Vader's twin pillars. They make him the symbol of absolute power and a prisoner of his own flaws. Greed and control hold the Empire together, but isolate him. Obsession bound him to Palpatine's will. His excess showed that no limit was too great when power was at stake, but envy stands above all. From Obi-Wan to Luke, Vader is haunted by what he can never claim: recognition, freedom, humanity. Darth Vader is not a victim of circumstance. He is the sum of his sins, from the chosen one to the fallen one. Here's ChatGPT's scorecard. Pride 9, greed 6, lust 5, wrath 10, gluttony 5, envy 8, sloth 4. Total 47 out of 70. Darth Vader, our first villain. He sets the bar, and every villain that follows will be judged against him. But what do you think? Did ChatGPT get it right? Or do you see Vader as stronger or weaker?